morning, everyone, and welcome to Cyber Straight Talk. I'm Linda Zecker, along with my co-host Catherine Mahalik, and today we kind of want to do one of our little short stories where we talk about relevant events that have just recently happened and how that might be something that you all would be interested in. And the one we really wanted to discuss today is what happened to Jaguar Range Rover. It's just unbelievable the attack that they had and the impact it's had on the company. And I'm not sure everyone's been following it as closely as we have, but it's really, really significant.
Yeah. It's just not impact to them. 5,000 of their vendors, the UK government's now having to guarantee loans, and it's not the first time for them. So this is big impacts that you've actually, you're aware of personally. And, this is just not a company's issue. This is the UK government as well as 5,000 UK suppliers.
Yeah, in fact, they have facilities in the UK, in China, Slovakia, India, Brazil, and all of those have been shut down. And as you said, this is their second attack in the same year in 2025. Earlier this year, they had a ransom attack from Hellcat. And so it makes you wonder, what have they been doing? I mean, how could they have a second such major attack? Did they have steps in place? Were they meeting and trying to find out what they need to change in their operations or in their cybersecurity planning? But it doesn't appear that a whole lot happened between that attack and this attack to fend off something so huge and so impactful to the company.
Yeah. And every time I read one of the stories or updates about it, it is it's it's amazing to me that here is a company, and we deal a lot with smaller, mid-sized companies, and they go, we can't do anything about cybersecurity because we don't have money. Money's not always the answer, right? These guys have all the money in the world. They had suffered one attack. You would think that because, you know, Jaguar Land Rover is owned by Tata Motors. They're one of the largest conglomerates in the entire world. They have the money. So it's not about money, it's about making sure that you understand, and you've said it before, Linda, everybody will get attacked. The question is how well you can bounce from it, how well you're planned for it, and it's minimizing risk and damage. And it didn't seem like they learned from the first attack. So, you don't want to kick somebody when they're down,
Right.
but this has ramifications so well beyond them that I think it's worth pointing out and to give particularly our smaller customers and mid-sized customers the message that it's not the money that you need, it's the planning and it's and taking the responsibility and not putting your head in the sand that this will happen to you also.
Yeah, I mean, this is, as we said, this is so huge. I mean, they're estimating that's about 2.6 billion in dollars of impact, and that's not even counting the small businesses and so forth in their whole ecosystem. Like you said, I do have some familiarity with Range Rover, and I had just gone in to turn in my old Range Rover, buy a new one, and I wanted to get in before the tariffs hit. And so they were already low on inventory, and now with this, the plants have been shut down. They're not shipping out. These dealerships all across the US and other countries, they're not going to have inventory. So that means the guy that is working in the shop, that means the guy that's selling the cars. That's a lot of people that are being hurt by this that don't really get mixed into that $2.6 billion amount. And the UK government is kicking in about 2 billion to help them out, but that still doesn't cover all this additional loss that's out there and the people that have been impacted. It's really kind of irritating that they were hit once already and just didn't put the things in place and the procedures and potentially software or whatever else to be able to address this. And it makes you question, you know, all boards should think about this, but it makes you really question what are the steps that you need to take and put in place. As you said, you've got to have a resiliency plan. And boards have to think about, Do I have a cybersecurity committee? Am I bringing in cybersecurity experts to support that committee to make sure that you have the right cyber expertise and you have people involved that are up to date on what's happening, who the threat makers are, and so that you can make sure that you are prepared.
Right. It's, and I wondered too, when you look at the overlap of the boards between Tata Motors and Jaguar Land Rover, there's a lot of people, there's three people who sit on both boards. There is also with that overlap within the audit committees. And if Jaguar Land Rover hasn't been protected very well, they had not finalized their cybersecurity insurance policy yet, which is going to even impact them
Right.
more because they had no insurance for it. What's happening with Tata Motors overall? So again, they may have checked all the compliance boxes, which is that's a very bad habit that people get into. They think, "Oh, we checked all of the boxes on the compliance, right? So we pass our audit." But it's not good enough anymore. You really have to sit down and have that resiliency, understand where those ripples go when something happens. Like you said, there's no inventory, and now and even the dealerships were down because of the integration of the systems between, the production and then inventory ordering, all of that. So this has been really something to watch. Unfortunately for them, this will be, I think, a giant test case and there hasn't been any filings or anything as far as any ramifications.
Right.
Sounds negative, but any ramifications to the board and or which is a possibility, right?
Right.
Level of care, all the rest of that. Are they also going to then be financially held accountable for all of this by their stakeholders and stockholders? So
Yeah, and
it's
I'm
just
not sure what the
amazing.
UK laws are on that, but I know in the US there would be some strict and stiff penalties.
Right.
But the sad thing about this is this was the Scattered Lapis Hunters Group, which has been, closely affiliated with Scattered Spider cybercriminals. And most people in the cybersecurity community are well aware of them, well aware of what their activities are, what their process is, how they operate, the kinds of things they go after. All kinds of internal documents, really important internal documents, design documents, sales documents, numbers documents, pretty much everything that can impact a company far beyond the dollar impact that happens just due to the business stoppage. And so this is serious, and I think the message we really want to send to these small businesses out there, even medium size or large, is that it can happen to you. It can happen to anybody. It's not,
Yep.
you're not immune. And people don't really think about it until it happens to them. In the case of Range Rover, they still didn't do that. But I mean, you have to be proactive and you have to have things in place. And you as a board member, you are accountable for
Right.
making sure that you have the proper oversight. And if nothing else, because if bad things happen, you want to be prepared, be resilient, have a plan on how you're going to restart, jumpstart, do whatever you need to do to move forward after the attack. But you also want to make sure that you can clearly document all the things that you've done to make sure that you have plans in place to try to avoid an attack. And that's where so many companies fall down. So that's what we do. That's what Cyber Knowledge Partners is all about. And so we do have that expertise, not working with us, work with others. Make sure as a board member that you are thinking about what's required on a cybersecurity committee and that you are bringing in the right expertise from the outside. Because just like not every board member is a sales expert or a financial expert, very few are really cyber experts. And so it's a necessary skill set that you can definitely supplement with outside resources.
Right. Well said. So make your plans, people. Make your plans.
Yeah. So with that, we'll sign off. But we just wanted to make sure that we talked to you about this because it really is an important topic, and this has been. I feel for the dealerships, and I feel for the people that are impacted, and I feel for the company. But this was one of those things that maybe it could have been avoided, or maybe it couldn't have been as bad as it was. So With that, we'll sign off and thank you all very much for joining us for Cyber Straight Talk. Bye bye.
Thanks, everybody.